Hello everyone, thank you Sally and Arthur for allowing me to have this interview. Like you say, I'm actually joining one of our most esteemed guests from the renowned institution that is Canonn Research today. So we're both joining you from the past, but hopefully there in the present you're greatly enjoying this interview with none other than LCU No Fool Like One, O7 Commander, and welcome.
Good afternoon. Where's the bearded one?
The bearded one. So the bearded one is in our time preoccupied. In present time, they are live on the show actually. So yeah, not here unfortunately. There's a temporal difference.
Oh dear, oh dear. A man of my stature should be dealing with the organ grinder, not the monkey. But very well, let's continue with this interview.
Monkeys only today, I'm afraid. Apologies. So, for anyone who's not familiar with yourself, could you please introduce yourself to our audience?
My name is LC New No Fool Like One. I'm the acting head of research and development at Canonn. I develop many of the tools that we use for collecting and analyzing data, and also help maintain and enhance tools like the 3D maps that other brilliant people have developed for us over the years. I'm also involved with the Galactic Exploration Catalogue, which is a wonderful community-led project to replace the Galactic Mapping project. And I help curate the community submitted entries there.
Brilliant. Yeah, you're telling me about this earlier, that it's community-driven in that they submit but also vote on the various submissions themselves as well. So it's very community-selected.
That's right. They anyone can go onto the website. They can submit photos and words to describe the places that they of interest that they visited, and then people can vote to say whether it's something really good that everyone else should go and have a look at themselves. And it is a wonderful initiative. Created by some fantastic people, such as Commander Orvidius, who hosts the site on edastro.com/GEC.
Brilliant. Well, a very worthy shout out. All right, so onto the main topic of discussion today is the other sort of grand scheme that you work on, that is Canonn Research. So could you tell us a little bit about that group and all of the sciencey bits that you get up to over there?
Yes, so Canonn are the top 1% of all science groups in the galaxy. We are heavily involved with all sorts of mysteries and analysis of the goings on that occur. So we do a lot of cataloguing of biology. We are looking at things like colliding planets. And historically, we've been around a very long time, since basically the group was founded by Dr. R. Canonn to study the Thargoid probes and sensors when they were first discovered.
Ah, brilliant. Okay, so the Thargoids are of particular interest to Canonn then?
Absolutely, and we have many tools for investigating, for showing the things that we've discovered, such as the 3D maps that some people may be familiar with.
Brilliant. Well, that actually brings us on to the current ongoing project, or at least one of the main projects that you have at the moment, which involves mapping and tracking the trajectories of the so-called Stargoids. That's the colloquial name, not the official name. We don't have an official name as far as I'm aware, but we'll go with that. So would you care to talk a little bit about those and what they are for anyone who doesn't know what we're referring to or has been out of the loop, possibly?
Well, it is a fantastic group effort led by many people within Canonn. We have a dedicated project. And my role in all of this is to take all the credit and leave none for anyone else. But yes, it's since we first discovered the Stargoids, we've been investigating their properties and trying to work out where they're going to go to, what speed they're traveling at, and so on. And we have built this fabulous 3D map created by Commander Hurix, and we have some tools for actually calculating the positions and the speed at which these things are traveling.
Fantastic. So in a moment, we can talk a lot more about the mapping. I'd love for you to be able to give me a little tutorial on how to use it effectively. So far, I've had a lot of fun sort of spinning it around and zooming out and all that sort of thing. But if you could give me some professional guidance on actually using it effectively and toggling the different filters and helping me understand all the bits, that would be fantastic. Before that, just to confirm then, so the Stargoids, as we're calling them, are a number of rogue signal sources, is that right, which fairly recently appeared and struck up a lot of interest, I suppose, particularly at Canonn. What was it like when they first appeared? What did you make of them? How did you spring into action so quickly?
Well, so we have a tool called the Canonn EDMC plugin, which is a piece of software that plugs into the Elite Dangerous Market connector. And one of the things that it has is a hyperdiction detector. And so we were first alerted to the presence of this anomaly when a commander that was using our software was hyperdicted. And this immediately sent a message to our Discord saying where and what time and so forth. And it was in a region that we had never seen hyperdictions before. I mean, it's close to the Cone sector, but it was so far away that it sparked our interest. Now, we don't want to take any credit for discovering this thing, because obviously this commander he was working with some other commanders. I think they were called McCoy Space Industries, who had received they say anonymous tip-off that they should go and have a look in that region, and so he was investigating with them. But of course, when we got this alert, everyone suddenly became very interested in seeing what was happening. And once we had got on the trail, the people who had got there first decided to make public some of the things that they'd found. So our understanding is that a commander called a Cow for All Seasons was the first person to be hyperdicted there, and he was joined by some other commanders, and I'm told that the actual visual signs of the anomalies were first spotted by commanders Falcon 91 and Artemis Tau. But of course, there were some clues which everyone had missed. And so for days prior to this, we had been seeing reports from people saying that they had extra signals on their FSS. And they didn't know what it was. And of course, we thought, oh, it's probably asteroid belts or barycenters or something like that was showing up. But it turns out that the extra signals are a clue to the presence of these unidentified anomalies. So what we now know is that if you were to, say, go to a star system that only had a single sun, and you were to use your FSS, you would see that the total number of bodies and the total number of systems mismatch. And currently, there are 9 signals and 1 body, which is telling us that there are 8 unidentified anomalies out there. So originally it was just 1. And then someone noticed there was another one, and then someone noticed another one, and we all thought, oh, great, that's it, there's no more, because we saw that image that the Pilots Federation had shown of a Coriolis with 3 explosions on it. But then it turned out there were more, and now we're up to 8, and we think maybe there might be more, maybe there's not. We have to keep checking. And we'll probably keep checking until the end of the galaxy.
Sure. Okay, so it was over a length of time that more and more of these signals started appearing. During that time, did you begin to get a sense for their size and their speed? Because obviously, once they were discovered, it very quickly became apparent that they weren't just static; they were actually on a trajectory as well.
Yes, so I mean, as far as size is concerned, I mean, we did try measuring the size, and they would have been unfeasibly large. So what we, I guess, I wouldn't say concluded because it's very difficult to make any real conclusions. But we what we thought was perhaps these things were a projection of something that was traveling at faster than light speeds. We were able to find out the direction of travel by going to the system where we could see them and then trying to line up stars so that the stars coincided with them. And at that point, we were able to track them. And then everyone set about doing lots and lots of complicated mathematics to try and work out if they could actually find the exact position, and from there, by taking measurements over time, find the actual speed. And it was a bit confusing at first because the speeds did change. But what we've discovered now is that the speed is constant until the unidentified anomaly gets to the halfway point between the two stars in which it's traveling between, and at that point the speed will change and it'll move on, and it'll change direction when it reaches a star and go to the next one.
Okay.
That's what we found so far.
Sure. So they haven't been properly intercepted or caught in a system as such just yet, but they can be tracked. And actually, I suppose now would be a good time to start talking about this map that Canonn have developed, and I understand you had a big hand in. So the pathways are being tracked, and well, I suppose you can speak to how it appears that they're converging on certain points, and actually you've started to extrapolate where they might even end up, or you're hypothesizing the end point of the routes that they're on.
Yes, so we've been following these things for quite some time, and so on the map you can see the systems that they've passed through. You can travel to the system where they're heading to and wait for them to pass, and you can see them fly past you. But the speeds at which they're traveling are so fast that you can't keep up in supercruise.
Sure.
And yes, so on the map here, what you can see mainly is what you can see is all the hyperdictions, because in the vicinity of the unidentified interstellar anomalies, you will get hyperdicted if you are jumping from system to system. And one of the things that we found is that if you are jumping into the system where the anomaly is currently traveling, then the hyperdictions are generally the normal, friendly sort of inspections that you would often get elsewhere. However, if you're jumping out of the system, then the hyperdictions will quite often be immediately hostile, and the Thargoid will start firing upon you as soon as you manage to orient yourself. So if you are traveling in those areas, you do need to be careful.
Right.
So as you can see,
oh, sorry.
yes. So go ahead, spit it out, boy.
That is unusual behaviour, isn't it, from Thargoids? We haven't really seen them being immediately hostile outside of very specific conditions before.
Yes, so there's like a 25 light year radius of sphere of influence where these things can occur. And the only place we've really seen this hostile behavior before is in HIP 22460, where that imbecile Salvation meddled with things that he shouldn't have meddled with. So that's another area where you are going to find instant hostility and need to be very careful. But as I say, if you look on the labels on the left hand side, you can see the hyperdictions. You can click on those to turn them off, and yes, as you can see, they've all disappeared, and now what we're left with is the green lines and the green which are the systems that we've found them in, and of course you're probably wondering about those grey spheres as well, and
I
the
am.
black areas with them. So the grey spheres are the permit locked regions. So we thought that it would be a good idea to understand what the relation was with the Stargoids and the permit lock regions, and whether they were going to pass through them or not. So Commander Hurix, really very cleverly, with the help of Bravada Cadelen, some time before, managed to get these included in the maps, which we'd never been able to do before. And the darker areas inside are permit-locked holes, if you like, which are regions which unlock the permit. So you can see that there are paths, if you like, through the permit-lock regions created by these different volumes.
Sure.
And so originally, we thought that the first anomaly, which we had named Joe, because we wanted to know where it had come from and where it was going. So originally, we thought Joe was going to miss the permit lock sectors, and I had a hypothesis that perhaps it didn't want to go through these areas where we'd known that there were the Thargoids were interested in. And that perhaps the hyperdictions, perhaps the hyperdictions actually weren't because the Thargoids were present, but perhaps because the Thargoids were interested in these anomalies and that they were something we'd not seen before. But I think on balance, it's probably more likely that the Stargoids really are of Thargoid origin, although we don't have definitive evidence of that yet.
Sure. No, but I understand you have reason to believe it. That makes sense. So if we wanted to just look at, say, Joe's path, then let's say, could I do that by enabling, would it be this toggle and disabling the rest so we could identify which one that is, or is there a different way to go about it?
I'm not entirely sure. I'd need to have it in front of me. I'm here to take credit, not to actually explain how to use it.
Thing. Fair enough.
The map was developed by Commander Hurix, based on technology developed by Commander Adama before him. So we kind of meddle with ancient technology that we don't quite understand. Myself, quite a lot. I don't think that we can we toggle the individual UIAs? I think we can only toggle the hyperdictions for those.
Yes, I think you're right. Oh yeah, sorry. We're under the hyperdictions. Section. So that's just me being a fool. Okay. But by doing so, we can actually sort of tell which one it is because so we're looking at UIA 1 is this one then because it's the one that changed when we. So this is Joe then that we're looking at.
Yeah, that's Joe. Yes. So they all have names, but I'd lost interest after 3. I can't remember people's names. I don't even remember yours, to be honest.
That's entirely reasonable. Okay.
But I'm sure you don't mind not Arthur.
No, that's totally fair. So, like I say, every yellow point here then is somewhere that's a recorded hyperdiction has taken place in the systems in yellow here.
Indeed, yes.
Right. So,
and the green ones are the systems where the Stargoids have actually visited.
Sure.
And we have had a few very perplexing incidents where the Stargoids, rather than changing speed and direction, have just coasted on, following the same direction, defying all expectations, and then in some cases have doubled back. And those regions we have coloured in red, so you can see that there were places where we just weren't expecting to see them. So there'll be a little red line. Sure. And then, of course, the blue lines are sort of an average vector that tells us vaguely the direction that the Stargoids are going. And as you can see, they are all converging on the region of Sol. However, because these things are averages and the paths changing direction constantly as they go from star to star. We can't be 100% sure which of the systems in that region that they are actually going to.
Right, but it does seem that they're all beelining toward the bubble then.
Absolutely, yes, yes.
Is that in
And
your...
if anyone would like to travel to Beagle with me before November, I'm charging reasonable rates, no more than 1 ton of refugees per cabin. And yes, I urge you all to leave immediately.
Okay, I was going to say, could I ascertain from that offer that, in your professional opinion, there is cause for concern?
I think so. And I think really the interesting thing for me is actually how slow these things are traveling, because while they may be doing like 40 light years per hour or more, which is very very fast in human terms, in terms of intergalactic travel, it's actually exceedingly slow. They've taken weeks. Are they trying to show us something? Are they trying to scare us, intimidate us by traveling slowly, or is it that they're bringing something that they can't bring instantly through their jump technology? Because we know that the Thargoids are have access to the entire galaxy. People have been discovering probes on the surfaces of bodies in systems that have gas giants with ammonia-based life, and we've mapped those, and they've been found in every single region of the galaxy. So we know that Thargoids can travel anywhere they like at any time. So why are they taking so long to travel towards us? What is it exactly? What are we waiting for? That's what we want to know.
No, it's a very good question. Unusual behaviour. I suppose as I was about to say budding scientist, but I don't think you'd let me anywhere near. I wouldn't get through the doors of Canonn Research.
Oh no, most of our people are absolutely useless, so you'll fit in
right
perfectly.
But I suppose the fact that it's not a sort of constant movement as such sort of indicates that, yeah, there's something deliberate or coordinated going on rather than natural, I guess.
Yes, I understand. I understand that the Pilots Federation are going to be doing some sort of update soon, and I'm wondering if the Stargoids want to download the software or something. That's why they're traveling there. Who knows? Nobody knows how the Thargoids think.
Right, right. How, if you had to put a number on it, how certain are you that this is a Thargoid related or Thargoid in origin? I suppose perhaps in the context of fairly recent events. I know you speak about Salvation earlier. That sort of thing bolsters your suspicions.
Well, I think it is highly likely that it's Thargoids. I mean, we had the rogue signal sources that we were able to drop into until a little while ago. There was a green cloud, and we're not 100% certain. We can't be totally certain until we actually see a Thargoid. And I was wondering if perhaps it might be actually of Guardian origin, and the Thargoids are tracking it too. But no, it does seem very likely that it is Thargoid, and that the Proteus wave device has brought them all to come and see what's going on. Although why they would apparently be heading to Sol, I'm not entirely sure. However, one of our commanders did manage to get hyperdicted in Sol. He was jumping from Sol to a system I think 160 light years away using Jumponium, and a Thargoid hyperdicted him, and he rather foolishly got too close, and sadly Commander Node lost his ship, but fortunately the rescue rangers were able to get him back, so that wasn't a total disaster.
No, just a partial one, I suppose.
Yes.
Okay, So, all right, we know that much about the Stargoids then. Just to hop back to the map here really quickly. So, these are their trajectories. We know there are 8 of them. And we suspect they're Thargoid in origin and headed towards the bowl. So, you're encouraging everyone to get out of system as soon as possible.
Well, unless they want to stop and study them or
Sure.
die in horrible ways, have their escape pods sucked up, they can do all that. But they could pay me a small, reasonable fee, and I will take them to Beagle Point as I flee the area.
I see.
Although, of course, my team are not allowed to have any holiday leave during this period because there's lots of work to do for them.
No, of course, of course. What kind of work is going to be ongoing while you're heroically shipping people off to a safe distance at Beagle Point?
Well, they'll still need to continue tracking. So I didn't mention this before, but Commander Erebus has made the fantastic tool for tracking these things. All you do is you line up so that you can see one of the systems that it's coming from or going to, and the Stargoid on the same on the screen, and then you measure the distance between the two. And he has this amazing software that you just enter in the details, and it does some sort of mathematical stuff. It's just simple maths, very very simple maths. I can't do maths, but anyway, he does all that, and it actually tells you the speed and direction and what have you. And so they'll be running around doing all that. Commander Lilac Light has been doing a sterling job. She seems to be able to get to every single Stargoid within the space of a few hours, and has been putting all that together. So it's been very good.
Oh, brilliant. Is this the moment where I suppose just then I should be showing on screen the lovely image you sent me of lots of numbers and filters and complicated mathsy bits that, yes, much smarter people than I understand and develop and use. Right, so I think that just about covers things in terms of the Stargoids themselves then. What kind of history have Canonn had with the Thargoids over the past few years? So obviously you've got reason to believe that potentially if these are Thargoid in origin, it's a cause for concern. But does Canonn have an official stance on whether Thargoids are to be considered hostile enemies or potentially a source of knowledge and understanding in the galaxy? Are they willing to comment on the sort of pro-Thargoid peace movement and that sort of thing?
Well, there's certainly a source of Thargoid resin, which I use to make Thargoid resin jam for our Gnosis biscuits, which are available for sale on the Gnosis. We have a long history with Thargoids. We're a broad church in Canonn. We have room for people who don't want us to be aggressive with the Thargoids and want to study them peacefully and learn to communicate with them. We had an amazing project, Project Mercury, where someone reprogrammed one of their probes and got it to transmit a Stargoid ship design at them. We've been for many years mapping out the locations of their Thargoid bases. Lots and lots of cataloguing of things like how many Leviathans there are on the surface sites. These are the large sort of structures that look like cockroaches that are littered. And we would frequently get people saying, "Oh, the surface sites are growing." No, they're not. They're not growing. And we know they're not growing because we've gone out and we've photographed every single one from the above the surface, and we can actually say, show us a photograph and we'll prove you wrong. And this is the kind of thing that we do, just get on people's nerves really. And of course, many of your viewers will be aware of the Canonn sector incident, where we discovered that there was an unlocked region within the Col 70 region, which was the Canonn sector, and our megaship, the Gnosis, had jump range of just a smidge over 500 light years, and would have been able to jump in there. But then the Pilots Federation weren't happy with that, but they let us go ahead anyway, and we jumped. And then the Thargoids attacked us, and lots of explorers. They ended up with their ships blown up, and lots of fighters had a bloody marvelous time blowing up Thargoids, and I got lots of resin for my biscuits. It was a marvelous time. Also made an absolute killing on salt. I had taken some shares in salt mines and done a fantastic, and it was actually a absolutely wonderful experience, which I wouldn't have had it any different or any slightly different. But if I could, I would thank the Thargoids for giving us this wonderful opportunity to, involve ourselves in their doings. Why they didn't want us coming there, I don't know. But yes, and so we've done. Thargoids are part of Canonn's DNA ever since the very first probes were discovered, and it's the entire reason that Canonn were founded.
Right. No, certainly an exciting time for everyone involved, and I'm glad that you enjoyed that it's now a historical event, really, in Canonn's legacy. No doubt. So fingers crossed that there are more exciting times to come, especially as the Thargoids approach. Who knows what we're going to find out and discover when they finally arrive, assuming they stay on the course that's expected. Do we have a rough time estimate based on the projections of their arrival?
Well, it's hard to say because the speed keeps changing, but we're thinking, somewhere towards mid to the end of November. So we're not sure, but who knows what they could do? They have done peculiar things in the past, like keep going or slow down or go into reverse. So I'm sure they'll keep us guessing if they decide that they want to change whatever schedule they happen to be on.
Sure, yes. No, we don't know how they keep time, and possibly things will alter their plans, but I'm sure they'll arrive precisely when they mean to. Great.
I wouldn't expect it any other way.
Fantastic. Okay, so I actually did want to ask you a little bit about the recent developments. I don't know whether you've been following this D2 business and whether that's of any interest to Canonn Research as impartial observers.
We have a great deal of interest in D2, but obviously D2 has suffered quite enough, and so we would not want to impose upon her. But yes, we've been following the whole saga with great interest, and obviously we would love to know more about how the Thargoid ships operate and anything that we could discover from there. But of course, if D2 needed our assistance on any matters, we would be happy to put her up either in one of our systems or on the Gnosis, and we promised we wouldn't try and reach into her brain and pull out any technology in there without her express permission.
Okay, no, I'm sure that's reassuring for D2. So if she's listening, I'm sure she'll consider the offer.
It is what the Meddling Ethics Committee told me to say. So obviously
understood. No. It's always so much red tape when you're trying to do just the most important research. This sort of thing gets in the way, doesn't it?
I don't understand how Salvation got away with it. I would have been hauled up in front of that committee in an instant. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's insane, really, what he got away with. You referred to them as an imbecile earlier, so I take it you're not a fan.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm just jealous, really. But
Fair.
No.
Fair. Do your reservations about Salvation carry over to Azimuth Biotech, as they're now called as well, or are you able to sort of separate the art from the artist?
Well, Azimuth Biotech, what can I say about them? I think they should be disbanded. I think their assets should be stripped. They should have their research made public, because we're all for public research. And also, I have a hedge fund investment. And so, if they do really badly, I'm going to be in the money.
Okay, I see. Right, so your unbiased opinion and professional opinion is that they ought to disband for ethical reasons.
Yes, absolutely. And anyone who's holding shares should sell them immediately.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. Does that mean? I mean, I'm hearing calls for the resurgence of Aegis, who would also be particularly interested and possibly even happy about a disbanding of Azimuth Biotech. I don't know whether you'd care to comment on Aegis at all.
Aegis, eh? Aegis. Absolutely useless. What is the point of them? They're everywhere the Thargoids were. They were like, oh, we're sending our megaships somewhere else. Yeah, yes, I don't know. I mean, it would be nice if people could talk to each other and get on and all the rest of it. But I think they definitely need a change of leadership. If they're going to do something like that. But I think we've got these we've got Aegis and we've got the AXI people and Hive and all these other groups that go around blowing up Thargoids. And I think one of the things we do need to do is some sort of diplomatic effort. I mean, not like those hippy dippy Thargoid loving people. I mean, they're just clearly demented, but we need a proper research effort. We need to take their technology and reprogram it so that we can send them messages instead of them sending us messages and 3D images of our ships, that sort of thing.
No, that would be that would be fantastic. I hope something like that comes about. Like I say, maybe the pen is mightier than the sword sometimes, and we'll see if that sort of thing is possible. Best of luck to you and everyone over at Canonn Research in developing such communications.
Thank you very much. Oh, and might I also, I'd like to plug my new single, which is you can find on YouTube, and it's called "Time Is Running Out." It's really a marketing video from my passenger service to Beagle Point. It's just scare people a little bit, but please do have a listen. And there's no refunds.
No, that's great. If anyone wanted to listen to that and get involved in the research over at Canonn at all, where might they find your material and your sign-ups and that sort of thing?
Probably in the first instance, there's the website canonn.science, and that will tell you how to sign up to the Discord. After our Discord was recently trashed by ne'er-do-wells, we have implemented a new policy with a new Discord, so that anyone can join and look through the glass walls of the laboratories and see the research that's going on. And if you want to participate in the conversation, there are some public channels, or you can sign up as a full member, and then you'll have full access to everything. So if you want to go straight to the Discord, it's canonn.fyi/Discord. And the website, as I said, is canonn.science.
Brilliant. Yes, no, I'd thoroughly recommend any commanders interested in science in Elite, or otherwise just researching everything that's going on, and certainly checking out the map that we showed earlier, to head over there. Fantastic. Were there any other comments, topics, things you wanted to mention, people you wanted to shout out?
I would just like to say that a lot of the work that we do, we simply could not do without all of the other brilliant application developers out there. So Spanch, Elite Dangerous Market Connector, EDSM, Journal Limpet. All of those tools are absolutely invaluable. They are used to gather data from all of the commanders across the galaxy that use them. They go into huge databases that are maintained by these people, and they are an amazing resource that we can use to help guide us to places to go to. So I would like to offer my sincere thanks to everyone involved.
Absolutely. No, I would echo that as well. And I would also extend those thanks to you personally and as, like I say, the renowned institution that is Canonn. It's fantastic to have you all working together on this sort of thing and creating amazing tools like the map and all the support stuff that you guys do is brilliant. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Am I going to get my money now? How much money am I getting?
That's afterwards. No, we're still. Let me wrap up. So hopefully everyone watching the live stream has enjoyed that interview, and I would like to once again thank our very special guest, LCU No Fool Like One, for joining us from Canonn Research. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you.
And like I say, hope you all enjoyed that. We will see you back in the studio 07.